mic started.
All right, cool.
It's looking good. Audio seems good. Just talk normally for a second.
Peter, Piker, Paper, Pepper.
Radar levels look like they're the exact same. So, hell yeah.
Hey.
Hey. All right. So, let's just go. Welcome to the Unnamed Comic Podcast with Alex and Cisco. I'm Alex. That's Cisco, and we're gonna be talking about some comics today, some nerd stuff. It's been about a year in the making.
Yes, sir. A
Yeah,
very exciting year in the making.
very exciting. We recorded a an episode before the pandemic happened, and
And then the pandemic
then the
happened.
pandemic happened. But now we were like, I started Twitch streaming, so it's like, hey, why not just do it here?
Yeah, pick it back
So
up.
easy. Pick it back up. Especially with all the cool shit that's happening in comics right now. I think that there's like a lot to talk about.
Yeah, the cool shit, the not so cool shit,
Yeah,
and the new shit coming.
the new shit coming. Uh Anyway, today we're going to be talking about what we're reading right now, our favorite runs from the past, and like some good introduction points if you're a new reader, because
Yeah.
I imagine that a good number of you who are going to be tuning in today are new readers. Also, thanks for the Prime sub, Ion.
Hey.
Yeah, I got the chat up, so we get to have like a live audience, which is cool.
Pretty
I
cool.
think it's
That is pretty cool. First time I've ever had a live audience.
yeah.
Um yeah, no. New comics.
New comics.
That
I want
I'm
to
having
ask you
trouble.
something because I was thinking about this because I think Marvel and DC are both kind of doing similar things trying to get new readers in.
Yeah.
Marvel, I think Heroes Reborn, they're doing.
Yes.
I read issue 1 of that uh over the weekend, and I was
And how did you
very
like
interested.
it?
I was like, it's a very interesting like concept. You want to explain it to people because I think you could probably explain it better than I can.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of like a restart. It's like a soft restart in like an alternate timeline. Like it looks like someone went back, messed with the timeline with the Squadron Supreme, which is basically Marvel's Justice League. They have a Superman, they have a Batman, a Flash, a Martian Manhunter, a Wonder
Yeah,
Woman. Yeah, it's just deep. It's just Marvel's like copy and paste of the Justice League, and this is a universe where the Avengers don't exist, and they've been the main superhero force. And then the issue with that is they're not really heroes,
yeah.
and they actively murk people and then cover it up. Like I
Yeah,
think in
it's kind
a
of
side
like
issue they killed Peter Parker.
yeah, it's kind of like a I mean, I hate to like make this exact. It's not an exact like thing, but like kind of like a boys
Yeah,
style like your superheroes are secretly bad.
yeah.
Like they're
Like
not like
for the
out there
media and
being
everything, they're good. But when you're actually like at ground zero of whatever's happening, it's like, yeah, they're not really helping anybody.
yeah. But yeah, like I saw that and I saw what DC was doing right now with their Frontier
Hmm.
stuff, and I'm like, this is like they're both like setting up for I think in hopes that a bunch of new readers come on and like are like, hey, this is a good jumping on point. So I
Yeah,
think it was
it's like a
great
trend
for
with
us.
both comics where I want to say like every 10 years there's like a soft reboot
Yeah,
of like the stories and everything
yeah,
where new readers can like jump on. So like if you're thinking about getting back into comics or getting into comics for the first time, Infinite Frontier and Heroes Reborn are good points because like they're still the recognizable characters, Captain America, um, Superman, Batman,
yeah,
Iron Man, and like it's just taking them and kind of like pushing them forward and like kind of like bringing them down to build them back up. until I guess like the next 10 years when they do
Whatever
another
the
reboot.
next crisis is or whatever, or
Yep.
Secret War.
Hmm.
Uh, because Marvel's last thing was like in like 2015 with like their Secret Wars
Secret
2015,
Wars 2, yeah.
right? Where they brought the Ultimate Universe, which was built in like 2001 ish, right? 2000 or 2001.
Like early
It
2000s,
was
yeah.
very early. It was like either like pre or post 9/11.
I
Like
think I
right
think it
around the
was
time.
post.
Yeah. Where basically the Ultimate Universe was just to another way to bring new comic book fans in, and it was
Yep.
very successful like early on. Um,
It,
but it's
infinitely successful.
yeah,
Because like
it's why I read Spider-Man now, because I read
really,
Ultimate Spider-Man and I was like, because again I'm a DC guy. Like my favorite comic is Teen Titans by Jeff Johns.
yep.
Like that is I mainline that shit. I have a giant book that is the entire run of that
It
that sits at the
is
end of my
pretty
bed.
fucking huge.
It's pretty fucking great. Like it has because it has all these characters and it's like so interconnected with the rest of the world that like it
Hmm.
allowed me to have a great jumping on point personally just by having that entire thing. Um, but for Marvel never caught me in the same way. So for me, having like Ultimate Spider-Man was a great introduction because it
Hmm.
was like you don't have to know anything about the Marvel universe. It's all going to be built up from here. Like, and like that makes it way more easier like to digest.
Yeah.
Like it's not so intimidating because I think like the big thing for new readers when you get into comics is there's these giant histories.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
like the
like
interconnecting characters, interconnecting
yeah,
storylines. Where if you just pick like an issue 20 or whatever, you're not gonna have any idea who these people are.
yeah. If you can't get in on issue one, like if you're buying physical comics nowadays, like if you don't get in like the first couple of weeks on a series, you're not gonna be able to
Yeah,
find
you're gonna be
issue one.
buying.
Like I like case in point, I went to a local comic shop here. I went to Comicopia
Hmm.
over in Kenmore in Boston, and she was like, "Oh, this Dune comic looks cool," because they have like a new Dune comic like
Yep.
based on the book, right? And I'm like, "Okay, you like would you like that?" And she's like, "I can't find issue." I'm like, "Oh yeah,
And you're not gonna find
you're
that.
not gonna find. We'll just wait until it volumes, like until
Hmm.
it like collection, the trade, because what are we gonna like do? Like,
Yeah,
you
you're not
know,
gonna read issue 5
yeah,
of like a 12 issue miniseries.
exactly. So even like on that very micro scale, it's hard. So
Yeah,
I
no.
very much get it. I think for a new reader, you're better off reading something that has a trade copy, so it has a few issues.
Hmm.
So you're not like getting in like okay, issue one of anything really. You're getting in with I have a little bit of runway to read
Hmm.
on and a little history, so I can talk about this with people. Because
Yeah.
that's one of the great joys of comics. It's why how you and me became good friends. I think
Yes, sir.
like because we have a shared love of the medium,
Hmm.
right? Like
Yeah, the
like
medium, the story, the creators, and then like the individual stories of the heroes and their struggles,
yeah,
which over the past 15 years have like it's not like Superman trying to save a dying planet. It's like that's not relatable.
yeah,
And more relatable stories involving these characters, like Bruce losing Damian Wayne when he died.
yeah.
Like
Damian
there
Wayne
was just
being
that
Robin, for anyone who doesn't know.
um there was that one issue right after he died with not there wasn't a single panel of dialogue, and it was just silence, like the inner monologue. And Bruce, we got it from Bruce's perspective that nothing is getting through to him because his son just died and he's going through it.
Yeah,
And like
like
that comic right there sticks out in particular because it was very relatable to people who have lost other people, like significant people in their lives, where they just become numb and kind of lash out or just dive head on first into whatever task that they've been doing and lose themselves in that task.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how often they kill off a Robin though. At
I
this point,
mean,
I mean, technically they've only killed off two, and they both come back.
they killed off three.
Well, okay, who was the third one?
Tim Drake.
Tim. Oh, Tim Drake never died.
I know, but to the everyone like Bat to the whole
He
Bat family, he was dead.
Tim Drake was kidnapped. I think, but like we're talking like people who died and like literally came back from hell.
Okay, then yeah, then
Like,
just the two.
but yeah, I mean, and they even they like did an identity murder on Dick Grayson for a while. Which, what do you how do you feel about like the whole okay, I'll explain it before we get into it,
Mhm.
but it was 2 years ago ish.
Yeah,
Um,
in like Nightwing #1
yeah, it
of
was
the new run.
a new run of Nightwing, where Nightwing has like been in he's back in Bloodhaven, which is his like classic superhero city, his superhero setting.
Yep, right
But
across the bay from
yeah,
Gotham.
right across the bay from Gotham, or across like the state. Like it's always random where they put stuff on a
Hmm.
map. Sometimes, like it's like either Bloodhaven is right next to Gotham, or it's like 100 miles away.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, he's back in his city. He's been doing superhero stuff for a while, and then like I don't know. I think it was like issue like 40 of that run. Actually in a Batman comic, uh, he gets shot in the head. He gets
Yep.
sniped on a
KGB.
rooftop. KGB snipes him on a rooftop, and he loses all of his memory.
Yep,
Like,
and the only thing he has is like reflex memory of being
yeah,
Nightwing.
he basically remembers up to the point where his parents died, and then nothing else.
Yep, and then
So,
it's like
and
people
he's like,
telling him, "Oh, Bruce adopted you. He had you in the family for like 10 years.
yeah,
You're his adoptive son." And it
and
was
he's
just
like, I
basically
don't
taken
know
to a blank
anymore.
wall. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, he starts going by Rick Grayson,
Yep, because he doesn't
which
want to be associated with Dick Grayson.
yeah, and it becomes like kind of like it's like essentially it's the core of who Nightwing is, and then nothing else. Like he's still
Yep,
like this like person who gets the desire to do good, but he doesn't want to wear fucking spandex to do it. Kind
yep,
of.
and and he's not gonna stick his neck out too far and
Yeah.
stay at a local level.
Yeah, exactly. Like he basically like starts driving a cab. He starts dating this girl. Like he falls in love, like and stuff. Like and
Yeah,
it's interesting, but a lot of people reacted poorly to it because comic book fans hate change.
I mean, it was definitely a good refresher for the character because
Yeah,
it was more dealing with the question, who is Dick Grayson outside of Nightwing?
exactly. And for me, like I've read Nightwing before, but like I was never like, oh, Nightwing's like the coolest. Like I want to read another Nightwing run
Mm,
until there was that. It's a good jumping on point. If you don't know anything about Nightwing, it's like this is a refreshing thing, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So he's
yeah, it's like it was a redefining of the
yeah.
core of this character.
Yeah, and it was a great story where he basically teams up with a bunch of like there are like four
Other
like
Nightwings.
yeah other Nightwings that have found his suits like in his like lair, his
Hmm.
Nightwing cave, uh, and they start like going out and doing Nightwing stuff, and he's like, oh, I'll let them be Nightwing. I'll help if they need help. Um,
Yeah, and like, and then they're obviously not trained like he was. And even though he doesn't have all the memory, he still has that reflex memory of, kind of being beaten the shit out of in the Batcave by Batman.
yeah,
Along with like, the Joker, Riddler, Clayface, and like just all this muscle memory of what to
yeah.
do when this threat comes, whatever, tuck and roll and shit like that, these four police officers don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like he goes out and he's just like amazing, and they're always, hey, that cabbie, we don't know much about him, but he's amazing.
He's
Like
a good guy.
he's a
He's a
good
good
guy.
guy.
He's a great guy. And like whenever like anyone goes like against him, like, I don't know, we should look into it. It's like, why?
Nah, he's a good guy. He's just a good
That
civilian.
man's never killed anyone in his life. It's like,
Yeah, until like I
okay.
guess like he puts like a bit of grease from his
Yeah.
cab
He puts like
over
some,
his eyes
and then he gets
as
like
his mask,
he gets some rope to like
and then
start
then they
swinging around the
start
city.
putting two and two together. Like, is it?
Where? Is it Nightwing?
That's Nightwing. That's Nightwing.
Was it the original Nightwing? But they don't.
Um.
They take forever to like piece that one out.
Oh yeah. No,
But
like
like an
random
unreasonable.
having
Like
these skills.
this is supposed to be like the like smartest like or like the best of the best like detective like in
Yeah.
Bloodhaven. Is this why Bloodhaven sucks so much?
I mean, it's why
Like,
everywhere sucks so much.
yeah.
Because if a photographer just kind of went like this to like Bruce Wayne's face,
Hmm.
like from here down is Batman.
Yeah. You know what? Um Not to just completely jump from topic to topic. But we need to talk about this Superman revealing himself as Clark Kent to the world, because I thought I'm not too mixed about it. I actually really like it. I think it's
Yeah.
a good change up for the character. It makes sense at this point.
It makes sense for the times.
Yeah, it's kind of like what what does Superman get? Like, cuz again, he has like a superpowered son. Everyone knows that Superman has connections to the Daily Planet anyway. That's why
Yep.
Lois Lane is always in trouble. Like,
Yep. They know Jimmy Olsen is
is
Superman's
Superman's
best
pal.
pal.
It's like, what does it change if he just goes, "Hey, I'm Superman and I'm Clark Kent"? Like, it's like not much. But uh for me, like I was like, that is the best thing that came out of Bendis's run of Superman.
Yeah, and like it also introduces a sense of trepidation with when it comes to Superman. Because it's like, okay, he revealed himself to be Clark Kent. He no longer has it wasn't a persona, but like he doesn't have that getaway
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
And like
And
now
he moves his
whenever
parents.
some issue happens, uh they attack the Daily Planet because they know Superman's gonna be there. They go to Smallville and they target his parents because they know where he grew up now. And
There's
like just now everybody knows. Like all his villains know who he is. They know his weak points now. And
there's
like
actually
and it
like there's a great, just to touch on that real quick. There's a great panel in one of these comics, like right after it happens, like the fallout from him revealing that he's Superman,
yep.
where a villain is like just hanging out right outside the window of the Daily Planet, and then he just walks up to the window and he just stares at him, and he like just books it like Clark Kent, not wearing like a Superman armor or anything, like not just like walking up to Clark,
Nope,
and he like
just looks at him.
just looks at him and he books it, and then like everyone's like, "Thanks, Clark." Like it's
Because like it's a
it,
double-edged sword.
it's normalized a
Because
little bit.
because like you know the target would be the Daily Planet because um Lex Luthor attacked them because Lois Lane ran an op-ed about them and revealed some shady shit.
Yeah,
Or you know if you want to make a statement in Metropolis, you attack the Daily Planet
yeah,
because you know it's one of the main buildings there with a giant globe on top.
yeah. It's honest
Um,
news.
yeah, and then like you know whenever they want to get someone's attention, Superman, they go and attack the Daily Planet.
Yeah. And it makes sense, like, because again, you see time and time again, Superman interacts with these people from the Daily Planet, and Clark Kent
Hmm.
doesn't. It's like, realistically, Superman and Clark Kent being the same person doesn't really change much.
No,
For,
it
for
doesn't.
in terms of like the danger or anything, it doesn't change the dynamics too much. For
Yeah,
him and
like
like the people closest to him,
mhm.
it's it's a big shakeup,
Because
but
I remember in Justice League, not 3000, Justice League Beyond,
mhm,
where it's like it's like for those that don't know Justice League Beyond, the cartoon series Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Beyond takes place in the Batman Beyond series,
Yes.
which is like just like maybe like 50 years after
Yeah.
Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce Wayne's old. He's no longer Batman.
But he's not
Terry
dead, so it
McGinnis,
couldn't be too
he's
long.
not dead.
Yeah.
Terry McGinnis is the new Batman. And Superman, Aquaman, all these people with longevity are still there. But like, there's a comic called Superman Beyond that is like kind of really depressing.
Yeah.
Because like Superman, for all intents and purposes, is a god walking amongst men,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't age as people do. So it's, people get older. Every day Clark has to like put on makeup and like hair dye to like make himself look older as time progresses, whatever. Like again, it doesn't affect him that much until people start dying off
Yeah.
because they're getting older and he's not. And then he just gives up being Superman because Jimmy's dead. Lois is dead. Perry White, owner of the Daily Planet, is dead. The Daily Planet dies because now it's no longer print media; it's like just digital media in Batman Beyond.
It's what's happening in the newspapers right now.
Yep.
Like,
And he just stops being Superman, and he stops being Clark Kent.
yeah.
Like he just like
He just
fucks
stops.
off. Yeah.
He stops being.
Mm-hmm.
Dude just
So like
like
them
leaves.
in this new run of Superman, them like just bringing the two personas like finally together out in the comic world. Uh, I think helps the character not be that,
Yeah.
because like
I
now he's out there and people know who he is as a person.
yeah. I think there was a really cute moment, I guess, in the comic, like where he reveals he's Superman, where like a kid goes, "Thanks, Clark Kent," and he's like, "Wait, am I the first person to ever say that to you?" Like when he's doing Superman stuff, he's like, "Yeah, I guess you are," and then he like flies away, and the kid's like, "Wow," like
Yeah, like it kind of gives Superman like that warm,
yeah,
buttery feeling inside. It was like,
it's cool. It's like cool because you've never seen that before. It's stuff that happens in comics that um new and old readers alike have never seen. Like,
yeah, because it's like now Clark Kent and Superman are one of the same. So Clark Kent is like getting the accolades and accomplishments
yeah.
of Superman when before that wasn't the case.
Yeah, one of the few like big heroes that didn't have a secret identity like for a long time was the Flash. Like Wally West Flash didn't have a secret identity for a long time and then they like to get him back to that, they basically rewrote his history like the Spectre, which is like
Hmm.
this God, he's like a spirit of vengeance
Yep, he's
sent by
God's
God.
right hand of vengeance.
Yeah, like so, but he has like these powers, right? So he kind of rewrites people's memories like globally of
Hmm.
Barry Allen and Wally West being the Flash. And like that is about the last time I can think where a major, like a really big major superhero had a public identity.
And
Like,
like we've seen alternate timelines where
yeah,
some hero's identity gets leaked, like Injustice with Batman, where Bruce Wayne goes to
fucking
Twitter
yeah,
and
fucking
like yeah, hashtag Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Lex Luthor and Cyborg team up to send a tweet. that
Yeah.
that's how that happens. I just reread that last night actually. That exact scene, and it was like Bruce Wayne shuts down like all of this all the outgoing signals from Superman trying to make a speech trying to out him, and then Damian Wayne's like, "You can get this out. You're the smartest man on earth, and you're a machine that can talk to every other machine. You telling me you can't send 4 words out to the people?" And it's like Batman is Bruce Wayne, and like it's just a tweet that goes
Yep, it kind
everywhere.
of fucks over Batman.
Yeah, makes his life. I
Um,
love a good evil Superman story. I think just because we're also used to him being like the Boy
Like
Scout.
the Boy Scout.
Like it's such a like an archetypical like it's what for I think a lot of people makes Superman uninteresting in some ways.
Hmm.
Like where
And like
it's like
when you break that Boy Scout mold, it's like, oh, this is new.
yeah,
Oh, Superman is killing people. Oh my God.
yeah,
How do you stop that? And then like, then of course someone tries and then either they succeed or they fail.
yeah. I think that's one of the things I really like about where they're taking Superman right now, where it's like, okay, do we like because for those of you who don't know, Superman has a son now, Jonathan Kent,
Yep.
who is old enough to be his own Superman, and now he is. He is now the
Yep. In his
Superman
regards, yep.
of Metropolis. And Superman is like escalating to like a bigger like
Like interplanetary scale.
yeah, like he represents Earth in like this like interplanetary UN thing, which
Mm,
I thought was an interesting like take for them to go with. But beyond that, like it's you see Superman just evolving now pretty
where like,
quickly.
he's no longer well, he is still dealing with these scales on Earth. But
Yeah,
like with a person who has these powers as Superman, you kind of can't just keep him contained to Earth when he is like all hearing, all seeing,
yeah.
fucking like I'm talking about like telegraph vision, 3D vision off into space. Like, oh damn, I see this planet and this quadrant is going through
There's a
some shit.
war going on right here, and I could stop it in a second if I bothered
But I
to.
can't. The
Yeah.
Daily Planet.
Lois Lane is hanging from this building. Oh wait, my son has that taken care of now.
Oh wait, I have a deadline. Oh wait, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a deadline for this article anymore
It's
because I am the news at this
yeah.
point.
I thought one of the things that they touched on, and I keep coming back to it, but like one of the things that they touched on where after the Superman reveal was like we have a lot of legal stuff to deal with now because of you, like because Clark Kent's
Yeah.
been writing about Superman for years.
Yep, man.
Like
He's just been writing about himself for
yeah,
years. And Lois Lane has been just been writing about her husband for years.
yeah. It's like we have to recredit and like add things like there's a lot of statements we have to make. Uh they basically fire Clark Kent and rehire him like as
Yep.
Superman, like which is it just Clark Kent's like, yeah, I'll do spokesman shit for the Daily Planet.
Yeah, like sure. I was kind of already doing that as
Yeah.
Superman, so might as well just take that on
Like,
full
why
head.
not? Yeah. I mean he writes a piece for it, like an editorial. Perry White writes
Mm-hmm.
an editorial about it, and it's like it's fantastic. I
Well,
I think Jimmy Olsen revealing that he's always known that Clark Kent was Superman was great. Where he's like,
yeah,
I
that
mean,
makes
you
sense.
you think I haven't taken like thousands upon thousands of pictures of you? I haven't doodled glasses on one of them.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
yeah, and that what's hilarious to me is whenever Superman has an identity, secret identity being brought up with specifically Lex Luthor, whenever uh it gets leaked or whatever that Superman is Clark Kent or like Lex Luthor runs it through his computer systems like for face
yeah,
identification and like 95% match to Clark Kent and he just goes, this guy? Nah,
Lex
nah,
Luthor being
nah.
the smartest man on the planet, unable to figure out that Superman is Clark Kent, is the funniest part of that their dichotomy. Like,
Yeah.
it's
And then
easily the funniest thing.
when it does get revealed that they are one of the same, and he just goes, "I'm a fucking idiot."
Yeah, I I think it's always interesting though because like you come in and you have like Lex Luthor, who's like he's the smartest person on earth. Like that's his like claim. Like, and we see it time and time again where it's like there are people we have the number one smartest person and like the number two, and when you had Doomsday Clock Osmandius from Watchmen, who is the smartest person in his universe,
Yep,
comes in and he's like, it's like okay, let's see who's number one. It's Lex Luthor. Who's number two? It's Bruce Wayne.
yep.
It's like that makes sense. That makes sense.
And
Bruce Wayne being like the second smartest person next to Lex Luthor makes sense.
yeah, and then it's even like in some cases, when it comes to certain things, Bruce Wayne is the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
When it comes to certain shit, because for those that aren't really read up on Batman, Batman has in his utility belt, he has something for every possible situation.
Yeah. It's
Like
why the Batman v Superman conversation like always comes down to, does Batman have prep time?
yeah, it's like,
It's
oh,
like he's
it's
always
always
prepped.
prep time.
So yeah.
Like he always has like a lead line pouch filled with kryptonite.
Yeah.
And but before there's been a few times where it's like in this one pouch, there's like the 5 different types of kryptonite,
Yeah.
which like is kind of fucked up because like
It's dark.
Superman gives him the piece of kryptonite and it's like, hey, I trust you. Here's the kryptonite holding in your Batcave, and Batman's like, okay, I'm gonna take this big chunk, take a
Put it
little chunk, and have it like in a bullet casing just for you at all times.
It makes sense though. And like here's the thing, Superman's not an I think a lot of times we write Superman as an idiot, kind of. Like not an
No,
idiot, but
he
like
acknowledges that
but
that
Superman's not an idiot. Though.
no, he's not.
He's one of the smartest people on the planet.
Yeah, and
Like
like,
it's
if anything, he can become the smartest person by
yeah,
just doing that speed reading that he does.
exactly. But like it's the morality of Superman that keeps him like I think usually that would keep him from being classified
Yeah,
as like the smart like it's like he will like Batman won't kill, but he'll do all other kinds of fucked up shit. Right?
he will cripple you. He will make sure you can't use your arm for a year.
Yeah.
Uh, he will make sure that he's always watching you, and you
He
don't know whether or not he is, but he
Batman will
is.
psychologically torture you. But
And
Superman will be like, I'm gonna get this done quick, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna get you a cookie and we're gonna talk about
yeah, and
like
like in Hush, where Superman gets under control of Poison Ivy because she kisses him with kryptonite laced lipstick.
yeah.
People who don't know Poison Ivy, she has like this control over men. Where,
I
like she
mean,
releases pheromones.
who
I
hasn't
mean,
watched Batman and Robin forever?
that's true. That's true. Underrated that movie.
Underrated movie. Very fun. Not a good
Um,
movie, but a very fun movie.
yeah, it's very fun.
Very
Stay
fun.
chill.
Yeah. Like if you want to just like have some laughs, enjoy a couple things,
Yeah, put on
Jim
Batman,
Carrey's the Riddler.
Batman and Robin.
Go have fun.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones is Two Face.
Yeah. That guy from
Um,
NCIS LA is Robin.
that's right.
Yeah, I know. It's hard
And
to
they have
remember that one.
nipples on their suits.
They have nipples on the suits. Bat nipples.
Um,
And they have a back credit card.
yeah, that's also true. It's a platinum card.
Kevin watches
Um,
exclusively for the bat nipples, he says.
but
Uh,
yeah, no. So Superman is under control of Poison Ivy. She has him doing all this shady shit, and Batman, takes
Bruce
a
Man.
minute. Bruce Man, he takes a minute to like put on this kryptonite ring that he always has on him, and she's like, and Catwoman's with him. She's like, how do you know he just won't kill you? And he's like, deep down, no matter what, Clark is a good guy. And then, she kind of goes away and like he's like, but deep down, I'm not a good guy. And then he proceeds to like break his own hand punching the shit out of Superman.
Yeah.
And like that is
That's quintessential Batman.
and like that's their dynamic where Batman isn't an all-around good guy because he's willing to do this shady shit.
Yeah.
Where Superman is, the goody two-shoes who will like have a therapy session if he can with the
Yeah.
bad guy.
I mean, the thing is, Batman, like, sometimes like they'll write Batman as holier than thou, and that doesn't
Yeah.
track with me because it's not really. It doesn't make sense for the character because Batman, at least to me, like the best written Batman is always like, I do this because it's necessary, and
Yep.
because like this is the mission, you know. Like
Mhm.
I'm not some like great guy. He views Superman as this great guy, and Superman views Batman the same way. You see it in like their date night comic.
Oh yeah, when they go to the fair, right?
Yeah, there's enormous respect between these two men. Like, so it's, but like they each view each other on a pedestal.
Yep, where Batman holds Superman on the holier than thou,
Yeah,
and Clark holds Batman to the pedestal of man, where he
yeah,
sees the potential of what man can do for other people. Is like besides breaking their bones, just like
yeah,
helping them and making where they live a better place.
yeah. Uh, Having said that, I think the current run of Batman that is going on right now, like the Joker War run, where it's like
Hmm.
Batman. Okay, we're gonna spoil a little something. Alfred's dead.
Yep.
Alfred died at the end of Tom King's run for Batman, which was the Rebirth run for Batman. Rebirth being the big event on DC that uh, rewrote some of the stuff from their previous big event and brought
Yep.
back characters that people really loved. Wally West, who I'm a
And
big
then
I'm
killed them off again.
I'm a fucking sap for Wally West. I think
And
you
like
can I think you realize this. I'm a fucking
yeah,
like
like
I'm a sap
in
because
my opinion, Wally West is he was my quintessential
he's
Flash for a
Flash.
really long time.
Well, he's Flash for me because that's what I grew up with, right? I
Yeah, and
mean,
like
you had to be
um
older than like 1985. Like you have to like
to
grown up
to
in the
like have Barry
early
Allen be
80s
your
to have Barry
Flash.
Allen. So,
But not only that, Wally West was the Flash for the TV shows,
oh
like the
yeah,
old cartoons,
for the
Justice League Unlimited. Whenever they showed him in Superman
and you know what's
or
funny?
Batman, it was always Wally West.
Because I always thought like growing up, I was like, oh, it's Barry Allen, and I don't know why I thought that.
Then there was that one clip of like they're all
Lex,
like trying to change or whatever, and Batman goes Diana Prince, Clark Kent, John Stewart, Wally West, Bruce Wayne. I
yeah,
know who all of you are. Now we all do. Now we can trust each other.
I love that. They're on the alternate world, like the Justice Lords thing,
Hmm.
right? And then he's just like, yep, yep, yep. Okay, take off your clothes. Like,
Yep. Change into the civilian clothes.
yeah, I remember one episode of Justice League where Lex Luthor steals West's body, and he
And
like
then
goes
he
to look in the
takes
mirror. And
him
it's like,
off. I
I
have
don't know
no idea
who
who this
this
man
is.
is.
It's like that's pure comedy. Because why would you know who Wally West is? Wally West has
Yeah.
like he does his secret identity is not like he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah. He's not any prominent person
He was
in
a
Central
mechanic
City.
after he got his secret identity back,
Yeah.
like after the Spectre thing that I talked about earlier. But like he that wasn't like a big thing. Like it's not
No,
like
it wasn't.
intrinsic to his identity. Right? He's always been a superhero more than he's been anything else. Like Barry Allen was a CSI.
Yep.
Like Barry Allen was involved in a lot of shit like police. He had like a very prominent like life beyond being a hero, like a superhero,
The
right?
police officer, then CSI
Yeah.
detective.
So there's a lot going on with Barry Allen. Wally West is just the Flash.
Yeah, he was some kid who took the same chemicals that made Barry Allen the Flash, spilled them on himself, got struck by lightning, and was like, "Hey, Kid Flash, what's
The
up?"
first time he meets the Flash too, which is the best. It's like,
Hmm.
hey, look, hey, uh your uncle Barry's like a big fan of the Flash, and then it's like, okay, let's talk about that. And then immediately he gets struck by lightning. It's like, I can run fast. It's
Yep.
like
I
that
also
good.
have the Speed Force.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be Wally West is the fastest Flash, and the
Yep.
fact, and I'll say it after the events of a recent like big event comic that wasn't billed as like as big of an event that as it was. I think that they drastically like undersold what Dark Knight's death metal was after
Hmm.
reading it, like because it changes everything. Wally West is back as being like the main Flash,
Yeah.
and I'm beyond excited for that. Like as an old reader of the Flash, I'm beyond excited. I love Jeff Johns' run. Jeff Johns is just a great writer for DC.
Yep. When it comes to the
They're
Flash,
lucky to have him.
Lantern. the Justice League series that he did.
Yeah, Teen Titans.
Hmm.
Everything that he writes seems to like turn to gold a little bit.
And I think that plays to his very specific writing style
Yeah,
when it comes to like humanizing these people.
yeah, and he
Um,
improves the lore
yeah,
of these characters. Like, I think in terms of writing, I think Mark Waid and Jeff Johns have had like a very prominent impact,
hmm,
like in comics, like in terms of humanizing characters and just like improving on what was already there. Like
yep,
not necessarily making like completely new stuff, but like just being like, hey, we let's talk about this thing that was kind of like a one-off comment and let's make
yep.
it something real.
Yep, let's take this situation where Hal Jordan, Wally West, John Stewart. Let's take this situation that they're in and like humanize it to their alternate personality. You know, being their secret identity.
Yeah, who they actually are.
Yep.
Another reason why the Superman thing is so great. I keep coming back
Yeah.
to it because it's like it's prominent in my mind.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's like it's brand new
it's brand new.
for the
I
for the main universe of DC.
I want
Superman
more.
and Clark are the same person.
And it wasn't like a big like event comic. It was just something that like they
He
wrote and
did
it
it on
was
a
like made
whim.
sense. He did it like kind of on a whim. He thought about it. He like talked to Lois Lane about it.
Yep, he
And
talked to Batman about it.
it was right before like a big fucking event in the Justice League and like DC Universe as a whole.
Hmm.
Like so it was an interesting thing to see it. But I think that's what makes Superman interesting right now is that Super Clark Kent isn't super who Superman is. Superman is Superman. He's always been
Yeah.
Superman. Clark Kent
Yep.
is who he pretends to be for the rest of humanity.
Yeah, but he's always been
He's
Superman.
always been Superman. He like it's the opposite for every other character.
Hmm.
Like really like some people make the argument that Batman is like who Bruce Wayne is in the same way, but it's not the same, you know?
Um,
Like cuz like Bruce Wayne puts on like a show for people, but Bruce Wayne also has his own personal identity that is not just Batman.
yeah,
You know, like how he acts around like Alfred is different from like him being Batman.
yeah. I would definitely agree with you, but like taking a step back, Clark Kent, like regardless of whether or not he went the Superman route,
Yeah.
because of just who he is and how he was raised, Clark Kent was always going to be this person saving people.
Yeah.
Kal-El, the last son of Krypton. Uh, I feel like he has this kind of responsibility to like make sure no one on Earth is the last son of Earth.
Yeah.
Where Batman, Bruce Wayne, wants to make sure that no child loses their parents in an alley after watching Zorro.
Yeah.
And like, but the scale of these two characters is very, very different, but also very similar in a way where like they don't want to see anybody going through what they went through. Where kind of the other heroes don't really have that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why when you think of DC, at least when I think of DC, the first two names that pop out of my head is Batman and Superman.
Yeah. As someone has said, they are the 1-2 punch of comics.
Yeah,
Like
I would 100% agree with that.
Batman has been so consistently like the highest selling that
Yep.
when shit reboots, they don't change anything about Batman.
No, they just keep adding on to it.
In 2011, they had a big publishing initiative called the New 52. It completely changed the DC universe, but Batman basically stayed the same.
Yeah, they just
And
made him younger.
yeah, they just made him younger. Like, and while all the other like comics from the New 52 kind of faltered and
Rewrote
failed,
the history and like
yeah,
uh fumbled with shit.
and then
Batman stayed
they ended up
consistent.
failing, like because of it. Like they didn't need to change anything with Batman, and they kept that going with Rebirth.
Yep.
Saying that, I think Tom King's run of Batman Rebirth, is a great jumping on point for the character.
Yeah,
Like,
I would say the rebirth of any of these runs, because they had
yeah,
Superman Rebirth, Justice League Rebirth, Green Lantern Rebirth. Those are, if you pick up those volumes, you get a more concise handling on these characters and
yeah.
where they would be going off from that point on.
I think Superman Rebirth needs a asterisk next to it because I think Superman Rebirth is actually a complicated point for a new reader if
Yeah,
they because it's not Superman in the new continuity. It's Superman
it's
from
Superman from
pre
the old
2011
continuity.
continuity. It's Superman from 1938 to 2011.
Yeah, so
So it's
for people who
complicated.
don't know the intricacies of Superman,
Explain Crisis
um,
on Infinite Earths for people.
me, I grew up not only on, my first introduction to comics was Marvel,
Yeah.
The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, which, their runs from the early 90s I've read and I thoroughly enjoyed. But also Superman. And like I get a lot of flack from this from a lot of friends where it's like, oh, who's your favorite hero? And it's like one of like top five, my number one is Superman. And like, oh, you can't do that, Superman, he's all powerful. You can't really
It's
beat
too
him
easy.
unless like you have kryptonite.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there's other ways to break this character down. And a lot of the times it comes to a moral breakdown where it's like, yeah, he won, but at what cost?
Yeah.
And like the pre 2011, the golden age Superman, did all this stuff, fucking going through Infinite Crisis of Infinite Earths, where it's like the multiverse is crashing. You have Superman versus Superman on different Earths. Earth One Superman versus Earth Two, which Earth Two is like the Silver Age Superman. You know, gray hair. He's older. He has like the really really old Superman insignia on his chest.
Yeah.
Fighting not the newest Superman
Yeah.
who has the same history as him with like more added on to it after 1980.
Yeah.
Um, Infinite Earth happens. They get the crisis solved, whatever, and then more crisis happens. This Superman goes through changes. Um,
Continuity
Black,
is like condensed
yeah,
into one like single Earth instead of like having all
yeah,
these multiple
into this
Earths.
multiverse, and then
Yeah.
this Superman becomes the staple Superman where he goes through everything. He's married to Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Um, and then Flashpoint happens. And then, Flash rewrites his own history, and then through like the drop of water in this river changes everybody's history.
Which we find out it wasn't Flash's fault.
Yep.
Which is
And then
fucking
when
amazing later on.
I feel like this could be its own episode, so I won't
Yeah,
fully discuss Flashpoint
we should talk about like just DC timeline and like Marvel.
in
Marvel has a much more straightforward
timeline. Yeah,
timeline. It's
DC's
way
timeline, you
more
have to like
simple.
there's like a 2 episode breakdown.
Yeah, we should talk
Um,
about that. We should get like infographics set up for it. We could have
yeah.
Ion draw some stuff.
Um, but yeah, so then Flashpoint happens, and then he resets the way time was, and then the new 52 happens,
And that Superman is gone.
and then the Golden Age Superman pre 2011 is just wiped out from the universe
Yeah.
at that point, and then this new Superman, who instead of having both his parents alive, still in Smallville, loses both parents. He becomes this kind of grittier and more raw Superman.
And he dates Wonder Woman, which
And he dates Wonder
a
Woman,
lot
which
of people
I
were really mad
love.
about. I thought it was an interesting take because it's like it's
I
easy.
loved it.
It's easy. It makes sense.
Um, yeah, so this Superman is like grittier. He doesn't really hold back his punches as much, and he has this more human morality.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and then
It's
Batman is also
just to
like,
qualify, the new 52 was all about making a lot of these characters darker and grittier.
Yep, and like the Superman, he didn't have the spandex. His was Kryptonian armor that he like had always underneath his clothes because it was like a patch, almost like a nicotine patch. He had it like on his chest.
Kryptonian nicotine patch.
Yeah, because he was addicted to it.
Yeah.
And then he would tap it, then it would like fold over his clothes
It's
and
kind of like an
Superman,
Armor Man
boom.
thing. An
Yeah.
Iron Armor Man. Iron Man.
Um, and then this Superman went through so many changes. And then at the end of his New 52 run,
He dies.
you know, he dies. And then when he dies, it's revealed that this Golden Age Superman at another crisis arrived on this Earth.
And has been there for
The
like
entire
the
time.
entire time.
Like
It's a great reveal because before that you're like, oh, I guess this is just Superman. Like they just changed his history and stuff. You know, they did Death of Superman, whatever. And then you realize it's like, oh, at some point we split these characters.
Yep, there's always been, and then they rewrite it so that there's always been two Supermen.
Yeah, which is it's a great reveal because a lot of people didn't like the new Superman.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like they were like it's we already have all these gritty characters. We don't need Superman to be so
Like dark
over
and
the
gritty,
top, like dark and
almost
gritty,
killing
and like
people every time.
it's like we have Batman, we have I mean shit, we have like the Green Lantern sometimes doing shit like that. Like
Yeah,
you
and
know,
like they're
Hal
going to
Jordan
war
gets
almost
dark all
every
the
10
time.
issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like so it's like, do we need Superman to do that? Also, people hated his comic redesign, like his like actual visual redesign. I didn't
I mean,
mind it.
I loved it.
I was like, you know, I think a lot of the New 52 stuff was actually not bad. I think it was just so different from what we
Yeah,
were all used
without
to.
any warning and
Yeah.
no easing into. It's like boom, Superman's wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and boots. That's
like,
his first outfit.
Come 2011, they were like, okay, I need you to end every like major story plot line that you have going on right now in all the comics, and then so like anything that you were interested in pre 2011 was kind of not
Hard stopped.
not completely gone, but like it was mostly gone.
Yeah, and then with Superman,
Unless you were reading Batman, in which case you had no problems.
Yeah, and then Superman, they just changed his character very drastically from what he was written before. Then he dies. This Superman dies. Then this old new version is still there.
Yeah.
Who retakes the mantle, and then there's like a volume of him retaking that mantle, and then another kind of like 8 issues for the beginning of Rebirth, them kind of like melding the two.
Yeah, this is Superman. He has his son with him. Also, it's not just Superman. It's the original Lois Lane is in there too.
Yep.
Like so, and Lois Lane has a doppelganger on this Earth,
and that ends up
she
dying.
also died. Yeah, who became a Superwoman.
Yep, along with Lana Lane.
Lana, the usual Superwoman. Lana Lang. Lana Lang.
Lana Lang. Yeah, I said Lane.
I know, it's so fucking confusing. He loves LLs. Kal-El loves L's.
I mean, until he met Wonder Woman, and then it was like, hey, someone that could keep pace. Yeah, so then they just kind of mold these two characters together, where it's like the pre-52 Superman takes on the history of the new 52 Superman,
which was confusing as shit,
and it's still confusing.
Yeah, like I've just like accepted that some of these characters have been rolled into their like pre New 52 selves already in a lot of ways. So like it's why Rebirth is so great. Rebirth was essentially like, hey, we're gonna take the stuff that you liked from before this
and bring it back,
reboot, and be like, well, here it comes. Hey, remember when like Barry Allen was like quippy and the Flash was like kind of upbeat? Let's do that, and then let's not do that, and then let's do that again.
Yeah. And then right now they're back to let's kind of not do that.
Yeah, shit keeps getting dark with the Flash. The Flash keeps getting really dark.
Yeah, the Flash is Barry Allen's Flash, along with like Wally West's Flash, is like another could be itself its own episode.
Yeah, I would love like if we just talked about specific characters. Again, unfortunately, I know way more about DC than I do about Marvel. You have a pretty good knowledge of both.
I know. I mean, because of my occupation, I have a lot of time on my hands,
Yeah.
and all I do is read comics. When it comes to DC, Marvel,
Yep.
Image, Dark Horse, and all these other like independent comic brands.
You know what? Let's throw something out here. Because we're nearing like an hour ish. So like before we end, we can go for however long you want. But
Mhm.
I would like to talk a little bit about independent publishers. Like,
Okay.
if is there any indie comic that you have read that you would be like, hey, if you don't read comics or you do read comics, like just get this. Go out and get this. I think Invincible has gripped the nation
With the Amazon series,
recently
yeah.
with the Amazon series. Like my girlfriend Ion fucking watched like 3 episodes and then got she was like, "What's happened?" So I'm like, "I'm not telling you." And she's like, "Okay." And so I handed her the book,
Yeah,
and she read it all.
Invincible was one I read like maybe 3 years before.
Same.
Um, and is an amazing series.
It's a great self-contained, like largely self-contained,
Yeah.
love letter to comics. If you want to
Well,
know about like comic book tropes, just honestly just
read
fucking watch
Invincible.
Invincible. Read or
Um,
do both.
Dark Horse is another company that I hold very dear to my heart
Yeah.
when it comes to some of the comic issues, mainly Hellboy. Um,
Hellboy's still very popular. Like a lot of people know about Hellboy.
yeah, with Ron Perlman's Hellboy from
Yeah.
like 2008, 2009, whenever the first one came out. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Yeah.
And then the recent Hellboy that, got a lot of flack when it came out,
Mhm.
but that I still enjoyed because it dealt with more comic book issues
Yeah.
that arose in the comics. Um, when I'm reading, when I'm not reading superheroes, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern. I like like I enjoy reading these comics that deal with mysteries and just focus heavily more on morality
Yeah.
and like
I agree with you
the
100%.
the causes and like the fallout for these big things. Like Hellboy, a brief overview of the character. He's a demon from hell who his right hand is the right hand of doom that will cause the apocalypse on Earth.
I love comic
Um,
explanations.
and like that is it. The Hellboy series doesn't do much to answer a lot of things, but like when you like deep dive into the comics and read the other comics, instead of just reading the Hellboy series, you read the Ape Sapien series, the BPRD series, and just like any other like thing, you find out more about this history that Hellboy himself doesn't know about his hand. Um and it's just filled a lot of space in my brain,
Yeah.
where I'm sure if I deleted a lot of this knowledge, I'd be a lot better with a lot of other things.
I'd be more intelligent if I had less comic information in my brain. I I resemble that statement. Uh um when I think of like independent publishers, my immediate brain goes to Why the Last Man.
Hmm.
Cuz for me, like that is the like most impactful indie comic I've read, and it's not indie, but
Yeah.
it's Image, which is like the third like leg of like
Hmm.
comic book publishers. Um, where basically the entirety of the world's population with Y chromosomes gets wiped out, except for this one
One
guy
man.
and his monkey,
Hmm.
his capuchin. and it's the entire series just is like seeing how the world has changed and why it happened, like trying to figure it out and like trying to get him. He's trying to get back to his girlfriend who he proposed to on the phone right before everything went down, and it's just an amazing like kind of coming of age story because it happens over the course of years.
Yep.
So you get to see him grow up from like a young adult, like late like early 20s. I think he's like early.
Mhm.
He's not like a teenager beginning.
But like he's still a young adult, and you see him come to age,
He's
going
like
through
living in a box
different
in New
shit that he
York,
goes through.
like a tiny ass like closet apartment in New York.
Hmm.
Like that's how it begins, and it's a fascinating tale.
Yeah, and like I
Yeah,
think that holds to the statement that you don't just have to read all these mainstays to
yeah,
enjoy comics, because like you'll never know what kind of gem you'll find just picking up this issue with a really cool cover,
yeah.
and then just
I
going to town on it.
yeah, I read something. I think I had actually read it before our first uh attempt to record this podcast back in 2019 or early 2020, where
Mhm.
um I read something by Mark Wade called uh Uncorruptible or Incorruptible. Um
Mhm.
or oh no, Irredeemable. Incorruptible is like the other issue where
Oh, Irredeemable is like the like the Supermanish character. He
yes,
has like the top half of his costume's black. He has like a star right here, and the
yes.
bottom half is red.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just started reading that
you
last
finally
week.
started reading it. Great.
Yep.
So, yeah, right. What do you think? Actually, before we get
That
into
that
it a
is
little bit.
that's it is a very interesting take on the superheroes, where it's
Like,
like the first issue, they have him being this paragon of hope, but then he's also killing the other heroes.
yeah.
And like I only got into issue one,
I
so
mean, it
I'm
opens with
still.
him eviscerating this family.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's essentially like, okay, what if one day Superman just like started killing
snap,
people and no one knows why?
yeah. Like there's no black kryptonite that turned him evil.
There's no
There's
like inciting
no.
it of incident. Like, he just
It's like
starts
they
murdering people.
established universe, established heroes. The main hero, the Superman of this universe, just says, "I'm gonna kill you."
I'm gonna break bad.
Yeah.
Uh, and I thought like, and that is like a completely self-contained story. Like, you have the other like there's a whole other series that covers his supervillain, like his arch nemesis, becoming a good guy
Yep.
because he's like I'm the yin to your yang kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like if he's gonna do this, like oh my god, look at all the destruction. Someone needs to stop him. It'll be me.
Yep. So the
So
the the, ma- the villain becomes the hero of the story.
the most evil piece of shit becomes like tries to like become the it's called uncorruptible. It's irredeemable and uncorruptible. Um, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic like take on superheroes, like dark, gritty,
Hmm.
and I never heard about it before I like read it. Like I just
Yeah.
saw it
Like
on
because unfortunately a lot of these comics don't get attention.
yeah. I just saw it on Comixology. Comixology, by the way, it's owned by Amazon, but it's a fucking great service. And
Yeah.
you can get if you get Comixology Unlimited, they have such a big backlog. If you're interested in starting comics at all, just get it for a month. Download the
Yeah.
app,
Just
get it
try
for a
it out.
month,
Try
see
it
how you
out.
like it. There's a lot of stuff on there. You won't have to like buy a bunch of comics. I have like 1,000 comics on there though, because I'm a fucking weirdo. It's a
Yeah.
it's
And
it's a steep fucking slope.
oh yeah. And like once you get the ball rolling on a certain character, you
You want to
start
read it.
reading. Yeah. You start
Yeah.
reading everything about them. That was with me in Spider-Man.
Yeah. One more day, right? you
Eesh.
you must love one more day.
Listen, if anybody tells you they love One More Day, they're lying to you. And if they're not lying to you, they need to be put to a stake.
we should have an episode. At this point, I want to throw this out there. We should have an episode where we just talk about the most hated storylines in comics. The Clone
One more
Sagas.
day is my number one.
Yeah, One More Day's like so disgustingly hated. I think people also, and I disagree with this, but I think people also hated Identity Crisis. There, I have it right here. This was almost what my capstone was going to be about before I switched to Heroes in Crisis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. People it got very great critical response, I think, but fans hated it. So I think we could talk about it. I think we have a couple really good ones that we could talk about.
Ooh! You brought me back to kind of 2010 when I first read that, and I was like, "What
It's
the fuck
so
is going on?"
It has that woman in the fridge trope.
Oh yeah,
That started with Kyle Rayner.
yeah.
Man, poor Kyle Rayner.
I mean,
I wish they would
poor
bring
Kyle
him back
Rayner.
for something.
Poor elongated man.
Yeah.
Poor fuck. What's Ted Cord, the Blue Beetle?
Yeah. Well, Blue Beetle died in the lead up to Infinite Crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another one that people kind of like. People hated Final Crisis.
I was on the fence of Final Crisis, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy it for what it is. I know they kind of like had to do it, but then they were like, I think it's also one of the reasons why they rebooted in 2011.
Yeah, and like
Because
it also made a new.
After it wasn't like as popular as I think they wanted it to be.
Yeah, they also made a new status quo, and like not really spoiling much, but there was a time where Bruce Wayne was dead due to what happened in Final Crisis, and Nightwing became the new Batman.
That's one of my favorite runs, by the way. The Batman and Robin run, where Dick Grayson is Batman, is so fucking good. And then Batman Incorporated after that.
Yep,
it was so good. And then it
dead. I think I was
reading that at the time, and it fucking like. I was actually angry about the New 52. I remember why now, because
it cut all
Batman
that out.
Incorporated got fucking chopped off, and Batman Incorporated was so good.
Yeah, and like this speaks to the Bat family and like what each Robin represents for Bruce.
Yeah,
which like Batman as Bruce Wayne is majorly flawed. He's still in many ways that orphan who had his parents killed in front of him in the alley. And I forget which issue it is, but like
he is a child screaming at a gun.
I think it's an issue of Batman and Robin with Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne, where they're like training in the Batcave or something. And Damian Wayne is kind of going, each Robin has their role, what's mine? Having his own identity crisis as Robin, because he's not the first person to have this mantle.
He's the fifth.
6, if you count Stephanie Brown.
I was counting Stephanie Brown.
That would make
who's the other one
Damian the 6th.
Okay, so we have Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown,
and Damian
Wayne.
I guess I miscounted.
You were adding in Carrie Kelly, but that's not in continuity.
That's right. That's Darkest Night.
That's why I don't count, because like if we're gonna fuck it, let's just add Starro in or Jarro.
That's true.
Anyway, Jarro's the best.
And like Damian Wayne's like, who are these other Robin to me? And like Bruce Wayne kind of like breaks it down to him where it's like Dick Grayson is the Batman with no hang up, where he is Bruce the perfect Batman.
I just remembered this scene.
And then he's like, Tim Drake is the detective Bruce Wayne wishes he could be, because like Tim Drake for the Bat family is like the tech guy. He can solve almost any mystery
I think
with
that
no help.
they basically said that Tim Drake is a better, like, in terms of just like, if there was going to be any like person who takes the mantle, he'd be a better Batman than Batman.
Yeah, and where in Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run, you see Tim Drake as
So
Batman in
cool.
the
And then
future.
that fucking character comes back in Rebirth.
Yeah, and he's still hanging around.
Well, he's in like the time stream somewhere,
Yep.
which was cool as
And
shit.
then Jason Todd is like the Batman that'll go where Bruce Wayne won't.
Yeah.
Where Jason Todd will kill you because, he goes through this whole change of like, dying and then coming back as the Red Hood and just killing like bad guys, criminals, rapists, pedophiles. He just kills them. So he's like the Batman that'll take that step that Bruce wants to but can't. And then, he just looks at Damien and it's like, yeah, no, you have to become your own person. I can't have these other people don't define who you'll be in the future.
Yeah.
Which is
I wasn't a big fan of Damian Wayne, I think, when he was first introduced. Uh
mm,
but he's grown on me so much just because of his partnership with Dick Grayson
yep,
in like those early days, like where like because he didn't have much time with Bruce Wayne as Batman. Like Dick Grayson is the Batman he trained with, like really.
yep,
Um, and then more recently, where he's really coming into his own, like
yep.
as his
And
own
he has his
character.
own he has his new series run, Robin.
Yeah, which I've been reading, and it's really good
Yeah.
because he's dealing with a lot of shit. Like it. I would say if you're interested at all in like the son of Batman, like just fucking read Robin. It just started. You have what 3 issues to catch up with now?
Reissues. Yep.
Like, just go read that.
Yeah, and then like the little bit of backstory that you might need is like
Alfred's
Damien
dead.
Alfred's dead, and
That's about it. Damien's mad,
Alfred was Damien's rock or foothold in Bruce's life,
and Alfred died in front of Damien.
and I'm not gonna say it's his fault, but he Damien feels like it's his fault that Alfred is dead.
Yeah, it's way more Bruce. Well, it's not even Bruce Wayne's fault. It's Alfred. Alfred like landed kind of to go
Yeah,
this way. It's very. It's an amazing panel when Bruce Wayne finds out that Alfred's dead. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah,
I wish that panel had no text on it.
yeah. But I'm so glad that it did.
Yeah, it's just him screaming at like not like the room that he's
Yeah,
trapped
the
in.
ether. He's screaming into the ether
It's a
because
you could tell that there's a primordial pain.
yeah, because he's right back into that alleyway, but now it's
Yeah.
in his home.
That again, I think Tom King's run was really good. I think some of the things that I think some of it he pissed off fans. That's another thing that another storyline that pissed off people. Uh, Catwoman leaving Batman at the altar.
And then kind of coming back.
It's because the lead up to it was like, oh, Bruce Wayne's gonna get married. It's like this big thing, and like they made such a big deal about it.
Hey, issue 50, Batman gets married. Psych. Um, yeah, I wasn't. I
It was.
personally wasn't a fan of it.
I wish it had just like fucking happened because
It would have
honestly,
it would have brought a
it would have
newer
been interesting.
dynamic to him.
I would love to see, and I know this might sound crazy, but I would love to see like a like in universe Batman Catwoman have a kid, and then Damien has to like be like if what I would have loved from like a future state kind of thing is if
Like Damien being the older brother to someone.
Damien as like his own hero with old little brother as like a sidekick kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there've been many interpretations of
Because
Damian Wayne
I don't
taking the
know,
mantle of Batman.
but you never see him with
Um,
like a Robin.
uh, the series of Batman and Catwoman, or Catwoman and Batman. I forget which way the title
Yeah.
goes. Um,
It's good.
I believe it's in continuity.
Is it? Are we
Yeah,
supposed to
because
take that
it's
as
in the
like it's what
future.
happens?
It's in the future. Yeah.
Damn. I thought that was like just like a Elseworlds kind of
No, I believe it's
one
in
off.
continuity with their daughter
Yeah, because like
Helena Wayne,
yeah, they did like the Huntress
where
like
she's the
thing,
Batman of the future.
which is cool. Like I loved that limited series. Like it was great.
Yeah, she's the
Um,
Batman of the future with cat claws.
yeah, but I assumed it was like the future state kind of deal where it's like this is a possible future. And that's what future state is. Future state is like this could happen,
Yeah. Um,
which I think is a good thing that they made it that way because a lot of people did not respond to Jonathan Kent's writing in future state.
I think though with Batman, they're leading more into future state
Oh,
because of the
they
way
have to. They've done
Gotham is being
so
shaped in
much.
the comics.
They've done so much with future state Batman stuff, and it'd be ridiculous if they didn't like pull through with it. They would have to like tie it up somehow. Why that's
Yeah,
not what happens,
yeah.
but
Why they had like this mini issues of future state and why they just hard stopped it.
everything points to it being like their actual continuity for at least Gotham, because
Yeah.
Gotham is self-contained in future state, like
Yep.
very self-contained. So
Yeah, it's its own like kind of militaristic
it,
state.
it's a police state.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome. Like, you know what? That's another thing. I think future state like is actually like a pretty good thing for new readers. I think a couple of them are like good. Like
Yeah.
I think the Harley Quinn series, Future State
For future state, yeah.
was really great. I don't think you need to know much about it, about comics in general to read it. I don't
Yeah.
think you need to know much about comics in general to read most of Future State stuff. Right?
And like you might read it and like feel lost in where these characters
But
are
that's
and
how
like what's
we
going
feel.
on. But that's how we feel too, because like we were given no context
We are aligned in that
into future
loss.
state.
Yeah. Which I think is
And it's
great.
like, yeah, because like anybody can read it and be like, what the fuck is going on here?
And
And everybody's like, we have no fucking idea. We have to wait till issue 2, 3, 4, 5.
yeah, and we can all talk about it.
Yeah.
That's I think that just like to wind down because we are hitting like the hour 20 mark.
Hmm.
That's the great thing about comics, and I think that's why I'm so excited to be doing this podcast with you. Is
Yeah.
talking about comics is like half the fun of reading.
Yep.
Like it's genuinely it's a community thing in a lot of ways. Like Ion reading Invincible has been so great because I get to talk about Invincible with my girlfriend.
Yep.
Like
And like
it's
with
fucking
with
awesome.
me, because I have an unfortunate extensive amount of knowledge about comics.
Yeah.
Uh, Before meeting you, I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it. Like, yeah, I could talk about comics with other people, but like they wouldn't get it on the same level.
Yeah.
Where, because of I don't know if it's my passion to comics or they just got tired of hearing me talk about it, so they decided to read it. One of my close friends, he kind of like stopped me and was like, okay, here's what I want you to do: write down all the comics I should read, put them in order as best as you can in importance and like what happens, and just send it to me in an email, and I'll read them. And I compiled like I gave him a Marvel list of comics to read first
Yeah.
because I feel like Marvel is more digestible,
Yeah.
to a certain point, for new readers, because the
It's
right
easier to
now the
understand.
Marvel universe is huge
Yeah.
with the movies and everything. So you know about these characters without having to read the comics. So when you read the comics, you know the characters. Like there's no question that if you look at a Iron Man comic, and you're like, yeah, that's Robert Downey Jr. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, cool, got it,
It's
cool.
in the
Oh,
quote unquote
Chris Evans
cultural
as Steve
zeitgeist.
Rogers. got it, cool.
We all
Mark
know.
Ruffalo's Hulk, they know.
Yeah.
So I sent him that list, and he got through the entire list of comics that I sent him for Marvel, and I sent him a list of DC comics that he is now working on.
See, that's the
Um,
best. I love turning people on to like comic books because there's something out there for everyone.
yeah,
I
like you,
think,
you will find your niche in comics
yeah,
for your brand of like story reading.
I think if you're someone who's like, oh, comic books, that's like inertia. It's like you're if you're someone who writes off an entire medium, you're a silly person,
Yeah,
right?
like that's kind of like saying,
Because I get the
uh,
instinct, but it doesn't track.
yeah, why? Just the why of it. It's like that's like me saying, I like reading history books, but I'm just not gonna read about Vietnam.
It's like me going, I don't like music. You like
Yeah,
some kind of music.
and like for like a lot of people who may not, delve into the medium as much as other people,
Yeah.
like, I'm not an aspiring music producer or music writer or songwriter or whatever, but I enjoy music.
Yeah. It's like there's something out there for everyone. I got my sister Wise the Last Man for her birthday a couple years ago, and since then
Mhm,
I have gotten her it again, like more issues, and she loves
mhm.
it. And Ion started reading Wise now because she was like, okay, what's next? Like,
Yeah, and like
because
I
she read
know.
Invincible, because like it's kind of like it's entry level stuff that's easily digestible, and I still struggle sometimes to find a good entry into Marvel and DC because
Mhm.
for me, I think the best entry into Marvel was Ultimates. Like in the modern day, I think Ultimate
Yeah,
like the Ultimate Universe was like a perfect entry point, and I'm hoping that Heroes Reborn evolves
is that
into.
new entry point.
I hope
Yeah.
it evolves into something like big, right? Because like for me, like that was like a big turning point because like I wasn't interested in Marvel comics, and it's like, oh, I this Spider-Man is like new. I get it. Like it's simple.
Yep.
Like it has the same like kind of origins as like the Spider-Man that I know.
Mhm.
Like you know, he's a teen. I'm a teen. Like
Yeah, yeah. And then like, Iron Man is like this billionaire with, he's
yeah,
always the billionaire.
yeah, exactly. They're not hard
Or
to
was seen
follow.
as a crazy person in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah,
And
Iron Man's
then
drinking again.
yeah, and he didn't stop. And then Captain America is a man from the 1940s with ideals.
Yeah,
Huh. From the 1940s.
yeah, but yeah, like there are great comics that I always want to recommend to people, but I usually will recommend something less superhero-y and more grounded, like
Yeah.
as kind of like a gateway into comics.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, if you
Um,
like this in your books, I think you'll like this comic.
yeah, exactly. It's like I think that there are some comics that I could recommend to my dad because he loves film noir.
Hmm.
And we watched the the Gotham TV series on Fox when that was
Yeah,
on.
because it was like a noir novella of
Yeah.
Batman.
And I'm like, there are Batman comics that are like this that I could absolutely probably get my dad
Yeah.
into. And I'm still trying to like figure out what a good one would be because I think that's what I'm gonna do for like Father's Day.
There's even Marvel noir where there's like a noir run for Marvel,
Yeah, the
like
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
noir.
noir, Punisher noir,
Yeah,
X-Men noir.
I mean everyone knows Punisher.
Yeah,
Eh, People like in their 60s, like my dad, like they know Punisher. You
yeah.
know, he's a pretty big character. But yeah, man. I think that what you and me should do is at some point we should sit down and create like a reading list. You know?
No, 100%.
Like just sit down and create a reading list so like people who listen like can be easily like we could just point to that and be like, hey, pick anything from that list and you're good to go. Like,
Yeah, no, I already have the Marvel list created.
yeah, you already have it. But yeah, I think we've hit like the 125. We had like a good amount of time. I think we should go ahead
Yeah,
and
hold off to the
close it out
next
here.
episode.
Hold it off. Yeah, you are you good for next week?
Yes, sir.
All right, then next Saturday, same place, probably same time.
Same time. Yeah.
Uh, come here for another episode of the Unnamed Comics podcast. And thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, so much. Kevin, Aeon, thank you. I don't know anybody else's name. Thank you, Alex. I love you all.
Yeah, thanks for joining me, bud. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no worries.
A lot of fun. All right, well, we'll see you next week. Bye.